Hello and welcome to my channel Econ Academy. In this tutorial I will explain what is outliers, how to detect it and how to treat it using Stata. So do like the video and subscribe to my channel. So first of all, what is outliers? Outliers is an observation which is different from all other observation in a data set. So let's suppose there is some data set and in which all the observation are in are below 10 or below 20, and there is one or two or three observation which is in thousands. Then there will be problem in the data, and it will create a problem in our results and observation and estimation. So it is a problem in a data set, and we don't want this problem in our model, because if there is outlier in the model, then the parameter will not be accurate, or we can say that the parameter will not be best. But as far as we want to solve this problem, first of all we will find out this in our model using Stata. So for this we have three type of tests. The first is the leverage test, which is also called H test. This test will check the fluctuations in the independent variable, and the second is the outlier test, or it is also called R test or student R test. So this test will check the fluctuations in the error term. And the third is the distance test, which is also called Cook's D test, and this test checks the combined effect of H test and R test on the dependent variable. So for outliers we will run all the three tests, and then we will make decision based on all the three tests that whether there is outlier in the model and we should remove it, or we should treat it or not. So for finding all of these, we will first estimate the value. We will first run the regression, and then find out the estimated value of the dependent variable. So in this data I have already imported cross-sectional data. So usually this outlier exists in cross-sectional data. It can be in panel data or time series data, but usually it is in cross-sectional data. So first of all, in the Stata I have imported cross-sectional data, and now we will run the regression. So for this we have a command reg, and then the name of the dependent variable, and then name of all the independent variables, and which in this case is gs and I. So we will run this regression. The command for regression is reg, and the dependent variable, which is GDP, and then two independent variables, which is GS and I. GS is government spending and I is investment. Then we will press enter. So this is the regression. Now we will find out the estimated value of the dependent variable. So for this we will write predict in the command section, predict, predict, and we will write any name. Let's suppose write it as G1. So it will predict the estimated value of the dependent variable. So we will press enter. If you browse GDP and this G1, which is the estimated value of GDP, so we will press enter. You can see that this is the actual value, and this is the estimated value. Now if we now if we want to find out the difference between them, we will write this. We will write in the command section predict, and then we will write e and comma resid, resid. So this will find out the difference between GDP and G1, which is the GDP is the actual value and the G1 is the estimated value. So we will press enter. Now if we browse all of the three, BR, GDP, G1 and E, so you can see that this is the difference between the actual value and the estimated value. So now we will run all the three tests of the outliers, and I will explain the results later, but first of all we will run all the three tests. So for running all the three tests, we have a command predict. So we will write predict, in the command section we will write, first of all we will write predict, and first we want to check the leverage test, or we can also call this as H test. So we will write predict H comma LEV. So this is the command through which we can get this leverage test. Predict H, and after the comma we will write LEV, and we'll press enter. This is the first test which we have done. Now we will we'll run the second test, which is also called OR test. So we will write predict PREDICT, predict OR comma and OR student. So through this command we will get the outlier test, or we can say that OR test, or it can also be said that our student test. So this is how this our student test will run. So we'll press enter, and now we will run the third test, which is predict, which is the distance test, or it is also called Cook's D test. This test will through this test we will get whether there is combined effect of the R test and H test on the dependent variable or not. So we will write predict and D, and after comma we will write Cook SD. So the command for the distance test is predict D comma Cooks COOKSD, Cooks D, and we will press enter. Now we have run all the three tests. Now I will show you how to decide between them. So for this we will first browse all the three tests, the result of all the three tests. We will write BR and then H, the second test is R, and the third test is D. So this is the table through which we will get whether there is outlier in the model or not. So for the H test tell us whether the functional form is correct or not, which we have used. So we cannot this H test does not suggest us the correct functional form, but it tell us that whether this functional form which we are using is correct or not. So if you can see that the value of this H is between 0 to 1. So if the value of this H in any case, in any observation, rise above 0.5, then we will say that this is the outlier in our model and this is not the correct function. So we will search it like that. But if we have many observations, we cannot search for each and every observation. So for this we have a command, and through this command we will get this thing easily. So for this we have a command. We will write in the command section, we will write list, 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 and then we will write if list after space if, and then we will write H, and we will put the greater to sign. If H is greater than, then we will write 0.5. So it will list all the observation which is greater than 0.5, and through this we will get whether the functional form is correct or not. So after this we will press enter. So now you can see that this is the outlier in our model, which we get through the H test. You can see its H test is above 0.8 0.5 and it is 0.8. So this is how we will interpret the H test, and this test suggests as that this is not the correct functional form which we are using. We will treat it later, but now we are moving forward. One thing more, this H test shows the variation in the independent variable. Now we will check outlier test, or which is also called R test, and the criteria for R test is if the value of R in any of the observation is greater than or equal to absolute 2, then we will say that there is outlier in the model. So if the value of R is greater than or equal to 2 in absolute form, then we will say that there is outlier in the model. And how to check it? So we will write a command. In the command section we write list. First of all we will write list, and then we will write the name of the variable, which is R, and then we will write if, and then we will write greater than, and then we will write 2. As my Stata doesn't recognize absolute form, the sign of absolute form, so first of all we will write we will check whether there is R is greater than 2 or not. Then we will check whether the R is less than -2 or not. Sorry, I have written the command wrong. So first of all we will write list, and then we will write if, and then the name of the variable, which is R, and then we press R is greater than 2 or not. We'll press enter. So this is the value of R is greater than 2 in this case of Mexico. You can check it from here. This is the value of R which is greater than 2, and it is almost 6.27. Now we will check whether there is a variable, there is an observation which is less than -2 or not. So first of all we will write list, and then we will write if, then we will write the name of the variable, which is R, and then we will press less than, and then we will write -2. So it will list all the observation which is less than 2, which is less than -2. So through this we can check the absolute form. First we will check the values which is greater than 2, and then we will check the values which is less than -2. Then we will press enter. So these are the two variables whose value of R is less than -2. So combine these three are the outliers in the model. Now we will check whether these the cooks through the distance test, whether the R test and H test combinedly affect the dependent variable or not. If it affects the dependent variable, then we have to treat it, otherwise we will not treat it and we will run the model as it is, because we are mostly concerned of how these outlier affect the dependent variable. And through distance test, if we found out that this outlier does not affect the dependent variable, then we will leave it as it is, and we will move forward with our observation with our estimation. So for this we have the command to check whether these two combinedly affect the dependent variable or not. So we will write list, and then we will write if, and then we will write the name of the name of the variable, which is D, and we will write greater than, and then we write 4 and then divided by. So till this point you will use the same command till this point, but after the divide sign you will write the number of observation which you have in this model. So in this case I have, if you check number of observation, so you can see that there are 55 number of observation. So you will write number of observation according to your own model. So I will write here 55. So my whole command will be list if d is greater than 4 divided by 55. If there is any observation of this type, then we have to treat it, and if it comes out that there is no observation like this, then we will leave it as it is, and we will move forward with our estimation. So now we will enter. So these are the observations which are affecting our dependent variable, and it means that we have to treat this these outliers. So for treating this outlier, according to book, we should delete the whole row which contain these outliers, but according to empirical economist, this is not the best way, because sometimes we might miss important variables or important observations which we should have in our model. So empirical economist believes in robust regression line which will remove all the outliers and give a due weight to each and every observation, and the whole model will be corrected through this. So till now we have explained what is outlier and how to detect it. Now I will explain how to treat it. So for treating it, we have to move to robust regression line instead of simple regression. So for this we have a command reg. So we will write the same command which is reg, and before that command we will write only r. So now we will run the same command reg, and then the dependent variable, the same dependent variable and the same independent variables, sorry, and after comma we will write gen wt and any name in these braces. Let's suppose name it as w, which denotes weight. So this will run a robust regression line with some specific weights given to each and every observation, and it will remove the outlier, and this is how we will move forward. This is how we treat the outliers according to empirical economists. So now we will press enter. So these are the result of the robust regression line. We have run this command, and through Huber iteration and by weight iteration we came out we found this robust regression line. So if you have outlier in the model, then you will use this robust regression line according to empirical economist instead of simple regression. Now if we want to compare both the models at the same time, we can do it. So first of all we will run the same simple regression which we called is OLS, and we will run reg and then the dependent variable which is GDP, and then the independent variables which is GS and I, and we press enter. So this is the simple regression, and now now we will run a command which is ESTSTO, and then we will STO, and after space we will run MODREG. This MOD is same for both. Till this point they will be same for both, and this is the reg command which is of regression. So if your Stata doesn't recognize this this command ESTSTO, then you will write, first of all you will write find it, or you can write search search, and you will write ESTSTO and press enter, and you will install that. But I don't have internet connection now, so I will not go for that. You must have internet connection if you didn't install that command. So first of all you have to install this command ESTSTO. so we will run, I have already installed it, so we will directly run this the command ESTSTO, and then after space mod reg, and we will press enter. Now we will estimate the second model, which is robust regression line. So we'll write REG and the same GDP and GS and I, and we'll press enter. So this is the robust result of the robust regression line. Now we will run the same command again, ESTSTO and mod, and now we will write RREG, which is the command of robust regression line, which is RREG, and now we will press enter. Now we will find find the difference between them using another command, which will also be installed in the same command. If you installed ESTSTO, then this command will also be installed in your Stata. So this command is ESTTAB. After all the work we have done, now we will check with the difference between the regression, the simple regression, and the robust regression line. So through this command we can find the difference between simple regression and robust regression line. So after that we will press enter. So the results in the first column, which is indicated by 1, you can you can see it at the top of the GDP. 1 indicates the first column. So these are the result of the simple regression, and in the second column these are the regression of the robust regression line. You can check the difference between them, and you can estimate the coefficients of the second regression line in case of outliers, and whether if there is no outliers, then you will estimate you will interpret the results of the result of the first column, which is a simple regression line. So in that case we have outliers, so we will interpret the result of the second column, which is the GDP, and these star indicate, if there is 3 star, then it will indicate the significance at 1% level of significance, and if it is 2 stars, then it will indicate significance at 10% level of significance, and if it is 1 star, then it will indicate 5% level of significance. So you can see that both the independent variable is significant at 1% level of significance in both the cases of the simple regression line and robust regression line, but you can see the difference in the coefficients between them. So this is from today's tutorial. You can watch my other tutorials from the playlist, and you can go to my channel. So do like the video and subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.